I used to believe that trust was the foundation of every relationship. For 2 years, I built my life around Megan, sharing everything with her: our apartment, our dreams, our future. She was the person I thought I would spend forever with. But lately, something felt different. She started mentioning a coworker named Derek more often than usual. I did not think much of it until one Friday night, when she looked me in the eyes and demanded my phone password. What happened next shattered everything I believed about honesty. Before I get into what happened that night, let me know where you are watching from in the comments below. If stories about trust and betrayal resonate with you, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. What happened next changed everything I believed about trust and honesty in relationships. Let me tell you exactly how it went down. My name is Ray. I am 32 years old, and I work as a software developer at a tech company in Austin, Texas. I have lived in this city my whole life. Grew up in the suburbs, went to college at the University of Texas, and built my career here. I always thought I would find someone who shared my values, someone honest and straightforward. When I met Megan, I thought I had found exactly that. Megan was 30 years old and worked as a marketing manager at a real estate company downtown. We met at a mutual friend's birthday party about 2.5 years ago. I remember that night clearly. She was standing by the bar laughing at something her friend had said, and when our eyes met, she smiled at me. That smile felt like an invitation, and I took it. We talked for hours that night about our jobs, our families, our dreams. She told me she wanted stability, honesty, and a partner who would always be there. I told her I wanted the same thing. The first year of our relationship was everything I could have hoped for. Megan was attentive and caring. She would text me throughout the day just to check in, asking how my meetings went or if I had eaten lunch. On weekends, we would explore new restaurants together or take long drives through the Texas Hill Country. She remembered small details about my life, like my favorite coffee order or the anniversary of my dad's passing. She made me feel seen in a way no one else ever had. After about 18 months of dating, we decided to move in together. I found a nice 2-bedroom apartment close to both of our workplaces. The rent was higher than what I had been paying before, but I figured it was worth it for our future. Since my salary was higher than hers, I offered to pay 60% of the rent while she covered the rest. She agreed, and we signed the lease together. Moving day felt like the beginning of a new chapter. For the first few months of living together, everything seemed perfect. We developed routines that felt comfortable. I would cook dinner on Tuesdays and Thursdays while she handled Mondays and Wednesdays. Fridays were usually takeout nights, and weekends were for adventures or lazy mornings in bed. I started imagining proposing to her, maybe on our 3rd anniversary. I even looked at rings a few times, though I never told her. But about 3 months before that fateful Friday night, something started to shift. Megan's company hired a new sales director named Derek. At first, she mentioned him casually, just another coworker in the endless stream of office gossip. But over time, his name started appearing more frequently in our conversations. Derek said the funniest thing in the meeting today, she would say over dinner. Derek brought donuts for the whole team this morning. Is that not so thoughtful? She mentioned one evening while scrolling through her phone. I did not think much of it at first. I am not a jealous person by nature, and I trusted Megan completely. People make friends at work all the time. It would be unreasonable to expect her not to have male colleagues she got along with. But then I started noticing other changes. Megan began leaving for work earlier than usual, sometimes a full hour before she needed to. When I asked about it, she said there was a big project coming up, and she wanted to get a head start. She also started coming home later, often after 8 in the evening when she used to be home by 6. Again, she blamed the project. The thing that bothered me most was how protective she became of her phone. Megan used to leave her phone lying around without a second thought. She would hand it to me to look up directions or show me photos from her camera roll. But lately, she carried it everywhere, even to the bathroom. When notifications came in, she would angle the screen away from me before checking them. One night, I was sitting next to her on the couch when her phone lit up with a message. I was not trying to snoop, but I instinctively glanced over. I caught a glimpse of the name Derek before she quickly flipped the phone face down. "Who was that?" I asked casually. "Just a meme from my sister," she replied without missing a beat. I knew it was not her sister. I had seen the name clearly, but I did not push it. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was creating problems where none existed. Megan loved me. She chose to live with me. Why would she risk everything we had built? That Friday started like any other day. I had a few meetings in the morning, grabbed lunch at my desk, and finished up a project I had been working on for weeks. My boss told me I could leave early since I had put in extra hours that week, so I headed home around 4:30 in the afternoon instead of my usual 6. When I walked into the apartment, Megan was sitting on the couch with her phone in her hand. The moment she heard the door open, she quickly flipped the phone face down and looked up at me with a startled expression. "You are home early," she said, and there was something in her voice that sounded almost accusatory. "Yeah, boss, let me out early. Thought I would surprise you." She smiled, but it did not reach her eyes. "That is nice." We decided to cook dinner together that night, something we had not done in a while. As we moved around the kitchen, chopping vegetables and stirring sauces, things almost felt normal again. We talked about mundane things, her day at work, a funny email I received from a client, weekend plans. For a moment, I let myself believe that everything was fine, that I had been worrying over nothing. After dinner, we settled on the couch to watch a movie. About 20 minutes in, Megan suddenly grabbed the remote and turned off the television. She shifted her body to face me directly, her expression serious. "We need to talk about something important," she said. My stomach dropped. Those words never lead anywhere good. I braced myself for whatever was coming. 100 scenarios ran through my mind in the span of a few seconds. Was she unhappy? Did she want to break up? Was there something wrong with her health? But what she actually said caught me completely off guard. "I have been thinking a lot about our relationship lately." Megan began, her voice measured and deliberate. "And I believe that couples who truly love each other should have complete transparency with each other." I nodded slowly, not sure where this was going. "I want us to share everything," she continued. "No secrets, no hidden messages, no private conversations that the other person does not know about." "Okay," I said carefully. "That sounds reasonable. What exactly are you proposing?" She took a deep breath. "I want you to give me your phone password. I want to be able to look through your phone whenever I feel like it. And I want you to be comfortable with that, because if you have nothing to hide, you should have no problem with this." I stared at her for a long moment, processing what she had just asked. It was not the request itself that surprised me. Some couples do share passwords, and I did not necessarily have a problem with the concept. What struck me was the sudden timing and the specific framing. "If you have nothing to hide." It felt less like a request and more like a test or an accusation disguised as a relationship milestone. "Where is this coming from?" I asked. "Did something happen?" Megan shook her head. "I read an article about relationship transparency. It said that couples who share everything have stronger bonds and fewer trust issues. I thought it would be good for us. An article, I repeated. Yes, it made a lot of sense to me. A relationship without secrets is a healthy relationship. I sat back and thought about it. On the surface, her logic was not entirely flawed. Transparency can be healthy, but something about the way she presented it felt manipulative, like she was setting up a situation where refusing would automatically make me look guilty. All right, I finally said. I can do that. Megan's face brightened. Really? Yes, but I have one condition. Her expression shifted slightly. What condition? If we are doing this transparency thing, it goes both ways. You give me your password too, and I get to look through your phone just like you want to look through mine. The change in her demeanor was immediate and unmistakable. Her smile faded. Her eyes darted to the side. She shifted uncomfortably on the couch. That is different, she said after a pause. How is it different? You literally just said couples should have complete transparency. I am the one who brought this up, she said, her voice taking on a defensive edge. I am doing this because I care about our relationship. You should be willing to show me that you have nothing to hide. And I am willing, I replied calmly. But why would the same rule not apply to you? Megan stood up abruptly, her face flushing with anger. Why are you turning this around on me? This is exactly what someone with secrets would say. You are deflecting because you do not want me to see something. I remained seated, keeping my voice level. I am not deflecting. I am pointing out that you are asking for something you are not willing to give. That is not transparency. That is control. Control. She laughed bitterly. I am trying to build trust here, and you are accusing me of being controlling. Megan, think about what you are saying. You want access to my private conversations, my messages, my emails, but the moment I ask for the same thing, suddenly it is different. How does that make sense? She did not have an answer for that. Instead, she doubled down on the emotional manipulation. If you loved me, you would just do this without making it complicated. The fact that you are putting up so much resistance tells me everything I need to know. I felt something shift inside me at that moment. For months I had been pushing down my suspicions, telling myself I was imagining things, convincing myself that Megan was the woman I fell in love with. But her reaction right now was telling a different story. An innocent person would not be this defensive. Someone with nothing to hide would not pivot so aggressively when asked for the same transparency they demanded. All those moments from the past few months came flooding back. The early mornings and late nights. The phone always face down. The nervous glance when Derek's name popped up on her screen. The sudden obsession with my phone while guarding hers like it contained state secrets. I stood up slowly and walked toward the corner of the living room where we kept our Bluetooth speaker. It was a nice one, a housewarming gift from my brother when we moved in together. We used it almost every day to play music while cooking or cleaning. What are you doing? Megan asked, confusion replacing anger in her voice. You want transparency? I said, turning to face her. Let us have real transparency. I remembered something from a few days earlier. Megan had been playing a podcast through the speaker while she was getting ready for work. The speaker stayed connected to her phone's Bluetooth even after she left, and I was pretty sure the connection was still active since neither of us had manually disconnected it. I picked up the speaker and turned it on. The blue light blinked, indicating it was searching for a paired device. A moment later, it connected automatically to Megan's phone. Since you will not show me your phone, I said, maybe we can just listen together. Megan's face went pale. She finally understood what I was about to do. I pulled out my own phone and opened the app that controlled the Bluetooth speaker. Because the speaker was connected to Megan's phone, I could see what audio sources were available to play. Recent items showed several voice memos she had recorded over the past few weeks. "Ray, stop," Megan said, her voice suddenly pleading. "Do not do this." "Why not? I thought you wanted transparency." She lunged toward me, trying to grab the speaker or my phone, I was not sure which. But I stepped back quickly, keeping both out of her reach. "What are you so afraid of me hearing?" I asked. She did not answer. Her breathing was rapid, her eyes wide with panic. I pressed play. Megan's voice filled the living room, clear and unmistakable through the speaker. "I do not know what is happening to me," her recorded voice said. "Every time I see Derek at the office, I get butterflies in my stomach. I have not felt this way in so long. It is like being in high school again. He looked at me during the meeting today, and I swear my heart skipped a beat. I actually look forward to going to work now just because I know I will see him. Is that crazy? I think I am losing my mind." The recording ended. I looked at Megan. She was frozen in place, her face drained of all color. "Ray, I was just venting. It does not mean anything." I did not respond. Instead, I played the next voice memo. "Derek and I had lunch together today. Just the two of us. We went to that little Italian place around the corner from the office. He told me I am special, that I am not like the other women he has met. He said he feels a connection with us. And honestly, I feel it too. When I am with him, I feel alive in a way I have not felt in years. Ray is... I do not know. Ray is fine. He is stable and reliable. But he is also boring, predictable. There is no excitement anymore. Derek makes me feel like anything is possible." My hands were steady as I listened, but inside something was cracking. Hearing your partner describe you as boring and predictable while gushing about another man is a specific kind of pain I would not wish on anyone. There was one more voice memo. I played it. "I need to be smart about this. I cannot let Ray find out anything until I figure out what I want to do. If Derek and I are really going to be together, I need to make sure the transition is smooth. Ray pays most of the rent, and I cannot afford this apartment on my own. I need to stay here until I know for sure that Derek is serious about us. Maybe I should check Ray's phone, make sure he does not suspect anything. If he has any proof, or if he has been talking to people about us, I need to know. I just have to play this carefully." The recording ended, and the room fell into absolute silence. I set the speaker down on the coffee table and looked at Megan. She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. But I noticed something strange. She was not crying because she had hurt me. She was crying because she had been caught. "It is not what you think," she started, her voice breaking. "Those were just private thoughts. Everyone has thoughts like that." "Private thoughts about leaving me for another man while living in my apartment and spending my money?" I asked. My voice was calm, almost eerily so. "That is not fair. You do not understand the pressure I have been under. Explain it to me then. Help me understand why you have been planning to use me as a safety net while you figure out if your office crush is worth leaving me for." She switched tactics immediately, going from defensive to offensive. "Maybe if you had paid more attention to me, I would not have felt this way," she said, her voice turning sharp. "You are always working, always tired. When was the last time you actually looked at me? When was the last time you made me feel special?" I almost laughed at the absurdity of it. Here she was, caught red-handed with recordings of her own voice, confessing to emotional infidelity and financial manipulation, and she was trying to blame me. "So this is my fault," I said flatly. "I am not saying it is entirely your fault, but you have to take some responsibility." "No, I do not." She blinked, surprised by my directness. "I am not going to stand here and accept blame for your choices," I continued. "You could have talked to me if you were unhappy. You could have suggested couples counseling. You could have been honest about what you were feeling. Instead, you chose to pursue another man behind my back while planning how to keep using me until you were sure he was a better option. That is not my failure. That is yours." Megan opened her mouth to respond, but I cut her off. "I want you to pack your things and leave tonight." "What?" She looked genuinely shocked. "You heard me. Pack your things. I will give you an hour." "Ray, can we please just talk about this? I made a mistake." "People make mistakes." "This was not a mistake, Megan. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something hurtful in an argument. What you did was deliberate. It was calculated. You made a series of choices over weeks and months knowing exactly what you were doing. That is not a mistake. That is who you are." She started crying harder, reaching for me. "Please, I love you. I know I messed up, but we can work through this. Give me another chance." I stepped back, keeping distance between us. "I am going to call your sister to come pick you up. I do not want you driving while you are this upset, and I do not think either of us should be alone together right now." I pulled out my phone and dialed her sister's number. Megan did not try to stop me. She just stood there crying as I explained the situation in brief terms. Her sister said she would be there in 30 minutes. While we waited, I helped Megan gather her essentials. I was not cruel about it. I handed her suitcases from the closet and let her pack her clothes, toiletries, and personal items. I told her she could arrange to get the rest of her things later, when we had both had time to cool down. Her sister arrived exactly when she said she would. She came up to the apartment and took in the scene with a knowing look. I got the impression this was not entirely surprising to her. Megan paused at the door, turning back to me one last time. "Ray, please. Everyone makes mistakes. Do not throw away 2 years because of this." I looked at her, really looked at her, and I felt something close to pity. "This was not a mistake," I said. "You planned to use me until you were sure about someone else. That is not a mistake. That is a choice. And now I am making mine." She left with her sister. I closed the door behind them and stood alone in the apartment that suddenly felt much larger than before. The first night alone was strange. I sat on the couch for a long time, staring at the blank television screen, trying to process everything that had happened. Part of me expected to feel rage or devastation or some overwhelming emotion that would bring me to my knees. But mostly I just felt hollow. I did not sleep much that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard Megan's voice from those recordings. Boring. Predictable. I need to stay here until I know for sure. The words played on a loop in my mind, and I could not make them stop. The days that followed blurred together. I went to work because I did not know what else to do. My colleagues noticed something was wrong, but I was not ready to talk about it. I just put my head down and focused on the code in front of me, losing myself in problems that had clear solutions. For about 2 weeks, I went through a phase of blaming myself. Maybe I had been too focused on work. Maybe I had not been romantic enough. Maybe I had missed some crucial opportunity to save the relationship before it fell apart. I replayed our 2 years together, searching for the moment where everything went wrong. But eventually, I realized I was doing exactly what Megan had tried to do in our last conversation. I was taking responsibility for her choices. and her choices were not mine to own. I started talking to my friend Marcus about everything. We had been close since college, and he was the kind of person who could listen without judgment and offer perspective without preaching. Over beers one night, he said something that stuck with me. You cannot control what other people do. You can only control how you respond. And from what you have told me, you responded exactly right. You stood up for yourself. You did not beg or bargain or accept less than you deserve. That takes strength. He was right. In that moment when I could have crumbled, I had chosen to value myself instead. That was something to be proud of. I started focusing on rebuilding my life. I went back to the gym, something I had neglected during the relationship. I signed up for a cooking class, partly to fill my evenings, and partly because I had always wanted to learn how to make proper Italian food. I called my parents more often, visited my brother and his kids on weekends, reconnected with friends I had drifted away from. 3 months after Megan left, I woke up one morning and realized I felt lighter. The heaviness that had been sitting on my chest was gone. I could think about the relationship without feeling pain, only a kind of distant sadness for what I thought it had been. I learned several things from that experience that I want to share. First, trust is important, but it should not be blind. Pay attention to actions, not just words. Megan told me she loved me regularly, but her actions told a different story. I chose to believe her words and ignore her actions, and that was a mistake I will not make again. Second, the person who demands the most transparency from you is often the one with the most to hide. Megan's insistence on seeing my phone was not about building trust. It was about making sure I did not know what she was doing. Her demand for one-sided access should have been a red flag from the start. Third, know your worth. I was Megan's backup plan, her safety net, while she explored other options. No one deserves to be someone's second choice. If someone treats you like an option, make the choice for them and walk away. Fourth, endings are not always failures. My relationship with Megan ending was not a failure. It was a course correction. It was the universe telling me that I deserved better and giving me the opportunity to find it. A year has passed since that night. I am in a much better place now, both mentally and emotionally. I have not started dating again yet, and I am okay with that. I am learning to be happy on my own, to find fulfillment in my work, my friendships, and my own company. When the right person comes along, I will be ready. But I am no longer in a rush. As for Megan, I heard through mutual friends that things with Derek did not work out. Apparently, he was not as serious about her as she thought. I do not take pleasure in that. I genuinely hope she finds whatever she is looking for just far away from me. I do not hold anger toward her anymore. Anger takes energy, and I would rather spend that energy on building the life I want. She taught me valuable lessons, even if the teaching method was painful. For that, in a strange way, I am grateful. Sometimes the people who demand the most honesty from you are the ones hiding the biggest lies. And sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not to fight for a relationship, but to walk away from one that was never real. If my story resonates with you, remember this: your peace of mind is worth more than any relationship built on deception. Know your worth and never settle for being someone's second choice. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where someone demanded transparency from you while hiding their own secrets? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. If this story touched you or made you think, please give it a like. It helps more than you know. And if you are not subscribed, yet hit that subscribe button so you do not miss future stories. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. You never know who might be going through something similar and needs to know they are not alone. Thank you for watching and for being part of this community. I wish you honesty in your relationships, strength in your decisions, and peace in your heart. Take care of yourselves.